Looking forward to this week. Excited to be home and having fans in the stadium, so that'll be fun. For the first time in LaVell Edwards Stadium for this 2020 season, and really, really pleased with the win that we got as a team over the weekend against Houston, and faced some adversity. The guys were able to bounce back and were able to have finish out the game the right way. And so, looking forward to getting some of the things fixed that obviously we do every week after a game. But there's some things I think that could really help us be in better position for success as a team in all three phases. And it's going to be based around us being aggressive and us trying to establish our identity as a team, and hopefully get that done. Looking forward to the corrections and practice today. So I'll take any of the questions you guys have for me.
All right, let's go Jared and then John Kuhn.
Kalani, I wanted to ask about the interaction you have with the coordinators and the other coaches during a game. Obviously, against Houston, you had to make some decisions as far as what you wanted to do defensively. I was just wondering how you do that and what's the process like as you guys try and evaluate how that's going to be accomplished as you have to make those adjustments.
Well, it takes the entire staff, and we won't be able to do it without our graduate assistants and our analysts, people that are involved in all the decision making. But more than anything, the staff just collaborates with each other. They work really well together on offense and defense and special teams. And whenever they see something that could be changed or an adjustment to be made, then we get that done. And as a head coach, I oversee all of it, but I trust the coaches that are in the decision-making process, and that includes me being part of that. So that's kind of how it works. It's not really much different from a lot of other places, but if you want to get more specific than that, I'm probably not going to do it.
Kalani, looking at the defense, you have 16 sacks through 5 games. Last season, you had 17 for the entire season. What's really key, just the success that you guys have had in getting into the backfield and getting to the quarterback and getting those sacks from game to game?
I don't know if I can answer it all in just one answer. There's a lot of variables that go into it: personnel, experience, scheme, all that stuff goes into it. But I think you're looking at a team that probably plays against people that are coming from behind and trying to throw the ball more. And so when they do that, we have to capitalize and make sure we get sacks and get disruption. And I'd like to see us get more turnovers. So to me, all that stuff goes hand in hand, and all the variables combined is what you're probably seeing as a result of it. So I don't know if it could be listed as just one person or one thing. It's just a collection of all of it. Helps get us better results. And so as long as we can keep performing well, and I like getting the lead and having make teams play from behind, that works too. So all that stuff goes into the probably the increase in sacks for us.
Okay, let's go Mitch Harper and then Jason Shepard.
And Kalani, you've always said that you grew up a BYU fan and you love BYU football. How much are you enjoying the wave of success and buzz that this program is currently experiencing?
Well, I'm a fan. I'm having fun with it. As a coach, I'm working. So I mean that's, Mitch, you brought it up when I was a fan. That of course. But when I became a player, my focus was way different as a player, and now that as a head coach, my focus is way different now. So I'll always be a fan. That part will always be there for me. But I'm probably more of a fan now to the other sports like BYU basketball, men's and women's, and all the sports that we have here. And so that when you're looking at those type of sports, I can probably be more of a fan than that. But here, my job is the head coach, and so my focus is way different. And if I'm a fan, I'm having a great time with it. But as a football team, as a program, as coaches, and players, our focus is not that part of it. Does that answer it for you?
What can you share, Kalani? Yeah, that's great. What can you share on the status of James Empey and Gunnar Romney going into this week?
Yeah, going into this week, everyone's back. We just have to see I think they'll be questionable, those guys, and we'll see if they can play this Saturday. But we plan on them, getting on the field. We haven't made a decision yet that they're out for Texas State game. We also have a good number of guys coming back this week. We'll see Tristan Hodge on the field today. We'll have Keanu Saliaponga, who practiced last week, be more involved and be ready to go. Sione Finau still, getting ready, and I think he's more ready now than before. So I'm probably leaving some people out, but Kyrus will be back, and so I think we'll be in a really good spot right now, starting practice today.
Coach, you had mentioned a minute ago about adjustments. How is this team specifically, whether it's in-game adjustments or at halftime, how pleased have you been with the team's ability to listen to that and then go out and take the changes and execute them?
Yeah, I think when you kind of factor all the decision making, there's a lot that go into it, and so you don't want to overreact and make drastic changes, but you have to have plans for everything, and so you may have a plan A, and if it goes great, that's awesome. But I think you're going to have a number of different game plans in it, and then it's just a matter of getting the implementing it and then making sure you're doing it in a timely fashion. So that's pretty much how it breaks down. And obviously I'd love to make great adjustments early as soon as possible, but that's the battle as a coach, is you have to figure out when the best time is to do it. And some decisions could be made and changes could be made right then on the sideline. Others have you have some time to go in halftime and make some adjustments there. So you utilize all the time you have, but I think you don't know how the game's going to play. You just have to kind of go with it and have a bunch of plans ready to roll if things don't work out.
Fans and no fans has obviously been a topic all year, and you guys were able to experience the win with a lot of BYU fans in Houston. Knowing now that there will be fans at the game Saturday, how much excitement does that even add to this game coming up at LaVell Edwards Stadium?
Well, our players and our coaches, we love our fans, so that's going to be the main part, is that we just appreciate our fans so much and look forward to having them there. So we've had 4 games without fans, and that was hard, but we still love the game, but just having that real time reaction, whether good or bad, nothing can simulate that. So looking forward to it, and seeing our fans in the stadium is going to be a lot of fun. But that gives you more sense of things being as normal as possible. So we're trending the right way once we see our fans in the stadium.
Sorry, Kalani, last one from me. Just your thoughts on Texas State. I think they brought in, at the beginning of the year, they had over 50 new players. What are your thoughts on this team? This will be their 5th road game in a row. What do you make of the Bobcats early this week?
Yeah, Coach Spavital's a really good coach, and he's been around and has had some great mentors in his coaching experience, and so they'll be ready to be here and play us. And I think they know the situation, but for us, it's a matter of us being focused and trying to get the most out of our guys this week in practice and preparation, and then playing the game and trying to be our best this weekend. That's the goal every week. But from what I see, they're highly competitive, and you look at, they took UTSA all the way to overtime. So a lot of respect for their coaches, a lot of respect for their players, a lot of good athletes on their team, and so we have to be ready. We have to make sure that we're at our best, because I think we're going to get their best shot this weekend.
Okay, let's go Jay Catch and then Jay.
Kalani, I wanted to ask you, in terms of adjustments you guys made in the game against Houston, it looked like in the second half you went more man-to-man on defense. Was that an adjustment that you guys made in-game, or was it something you had planned to go in the lead-up to that game?
We that's a plan. That's a background that myself and Coach Tuyaki have. And so when you're looking at the personnel early in the season, we don't know if we needed it as much. Also had some guys that were banged up, and we feel now that we've got more guys back and healthy, and we had planned to play quite a number of different schemes, man being one of them. I think there's a lot of attention goes to that, but when you're pass rushing without your big beast in the middle, it's a little different. And not saying that Caden and the others that stepped in didn't do a good job. Just saying that's different when you have a guy that has tons of experience and tons of size, and so I think that was a little different for us, and maybe relied on Kyrus disrupting the front a little bit too much in a 3-man rush. But if we can do it, we'll do it. If not, then we'll find other ways. I want to see a drive stop. I want to see disruption in the defense. I want to see us disrupting plays, meaning causing havoc all over the place, stopping the run, getting to the quarterback in the pass game, and creating turnovers. So that's the goal. Obviously, winning and getting stops is the most important things, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. But I think disruption is got to be kind of the backbone of what we're going to do on defense.
One more for me here. I wanted to ask you about George Udo. What have you seen from him early on this season that leads you to trust him so much to cover guys like a Marquez Stevenson in that Houston game?
Because he's super fast, athletic. He's a hybrid where he's really tough. He's strong at the line of scrimmage, and when you have a guy with that kind of unique skill set, it's nice to see him on the field. We have a high number of players that can do things that are unique to their skill set. He's one of them. Just keep them focused and keep them trained so that they don't miss sacks, because I like disruption, and when you miss sacks, it doesn't work well, especially when it turns into a touchdown. So good lesson for him to learn, and hopefully he does better. But I like his response when he came back and got a sack later on in later drive, different drive. So he's still learning. He's still young. He's a sophomore, true sophomore, and so we know we're going to get some really good things out of him on the football field for a long time. But I think you look at the skill set we have in so many different guys, being able to move different places and play a lot of different coverages, that I think being able to utilize those guys is going to be really important for our success.
Kalani, Zach is starting to get, well, not starting, but he's in the Heisman conversation now. Is he, his maturity level, is he the type of kid that can handle this, or will you have to say anything to him, or how will you approach that?
I say stuff to him all the time, but he's going to be fine. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about the Heisman. We're not worried about anything else except for Texas State and learning from the Houston game last week. I know that you guys are doing your jobs. And I'm probably going to be boring when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I'm not worried about Zach doing anything except for beating Texas State and learning from the mistakes that he made in the Houston game. But I guarantee you that guy's already addressed it, probably on the flight home, the mistakes that he's made, and just want him to keep leading this team. We have a good number of leaders on our team, and I trust all these guys with their teammates and giving them praise, but also correcting some of the mistakes that they see. So I know today in meetings and practice we'll probably have a lot of guys that it's nice when you go into meetings and you go over some things and they already addressed it themselves. Personally, they might have already hit myself up or their position coaches and said, "Coach, I should have done this better." They utilize their time really well, and that helps when you have a lot of mature guys that are experienced, that understand the game and are focused. So I'm going to stay focused on this game. That's all that matters.
Okay, let's go Pat and then Alex.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Sorry about that. I had trouble with the mute button. Hey, you kind of answered my question a little bit, but I was just curious, just to touch on this a little more. When you have 6,000 fans after having no fans, does it feel like 60,000? Will Lavelle Stadium, will that be rocking again? Do you expect it to be loud and all that?
Yep, that's what I expect from those 6,000. They're going to have to make a lot of noise for 60. So they know what we're demanding from them, and we're expecting it to be a lot of fun. So I don't know if they can do it, but I think they can do it. I think there's a lot of guys, a lot of people in that, men and women and children in that group of 6,000 that are going to make enough noise for the rest, because the others that can't be in the stadium are going to count on them doing it. And if they don't, then they're going to hear about it from the others that aren't allowed in the stadium. So a lot of pressure on those guys. You got to talk about. You guys need to interview all the fans that are going to be there and how they're handling the pressure of making enough noise to make the other fans happy.
Coach, good afternoon. Dax Milne the other night said that kind of having fans for that game against Houston helped fuel the comeback that you guys had. Did you see that yourself on the field, and how much can just the idea of having fans help, the performances on the field and help the players with a little bit, just that little bit extra drive, that little bit extra motivation and desire?
I think it has a indirect reflection on the game. I think more than anything, it's what the players recognize as being as normal as possible. Whether you're on the road or at home, you're kind of used to having a quick reaction to a play, even to like a referee call or something like that. You're so used to that being part of the game, and when it doesn't happen, it just doesn't feel like that. You know what I mean? And so and we're lucky because we have a fan base that shows up everywhere. We had, so many fans at the game in Houston, and it's just not that game. It's every away game that we go to. Our fans represent. They show up and they make a lot of noise, and our players appreciate that. So I think more than anything, it just feels as normal as possible, and it feels like a real game. In a game, we played 4 games with no fans. And I think I think a lot of the players say it's a little eerie, it's different, weird, but it doesn't take away from the competition. It's just not what they're used to in a game setting. And so it doesn't really matter how many fans, but I don't think that maybe when Dak said that it fuels them, it's just like it just gets the energy, it keeps the energy rolling, right? And I think that's what they recognize. But our players are so focused on the game too. It's pretty cool seeing them just be razor sharp on the sideline, even when things look really, really bleak and things are going in a negative way. I had heard a bunch of great things on the sideline, positivity and optimism, and knowing that there's plenty of time for our team to do things. We played, I think I'd say probably 2 great quarters in that game, and it'd be nice to play 4 great quarters. That's the goal.
If I can follow up just quickly, with sort of the way that the virus has been spreading the last few weeks in Utah, and the most recent statement by Governor Herbert, does it worry you at all that you guys are going to be able to have 6,000 fans?
I can tell you the numbers on our football program are really, really good, and the numbers in our athletic department and everything that's going on from what I see. And the numbers that I visibly see in the last 3 weeks are way different than anywhere else that I've seen. So I applaud the sports medicine department, administration, and our football team and football team and staff for being mindful of the spread and trying to minimize it as much as possible, because the numbers we're seeing are really, really good and in a positive way. So I can't speak for the rest of the state, but I know that BYU football here is taking care of business and trying to do their best. Now, like I said, we could do everything right and still have issues. That's what happened to us. But it's still a learning process. We're still trying to get better, and there's always room for improvement and creative ways to innovate and make sure that we do a great job of handling contact tracing, the spread, and being, wearing our masks, being physical distance, just social distancing, all that stuff. It all matters. But it's an education process that we have to keep promoting to our guys, and our players have done a great job with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, last 2 questions, Hunter and then Mitch.
Yeah, Coach, I hesitate to use the word dying position, but the fullback certainly isn't utilized across the country as it has been in the past years. As someone who's played the position, what kind of impact and what kind of ability does Mason Wake bring to your guys' offense at the fullback position?
Fullback position is not a dying position. They just keep calling it something different. Gronkowski is a fullback. He's just big and tall, so they make him a tight end. So all those guys are fullbacks, whether they like it or not. But I guess if you're not 6'4", you're going to be a fullback, which is fine. And Mason Wake can do a lot of things that those tight ends can do. He can catch the ball. He's got soft hands, physical, great ball security, and he probably jumps a lot too much. I mean, if you think about it, for my comfort, I tried that too when I was playing, but I think he's got better hops maybe, and well, I don't know if he has better hops, but he probably hung out with Chad Lewis too much over the off season. He thinks he can jump everything, but I just like this style of play. I think he's physical, and what he represents on the field is important. You saw the statement he made about his mother, and that I remember being in his home, and a kid that loves his family and wants to represent the right way, and comes out here and sacrifices a lot for this team, but he does everything 100%. Whether he's blocking, catching the ball, or running it, he's gonna do everything as the best that he can, and he represents the right people. So I think his family should be really proud of him, just like I know Coach Clark and myself are.
All right, thanks, Kalani.
All right, guys, appreciate you. Stay safe.